Hello and welcome to Rise's Impact Report for the year 2020 to 2021. In a change to our usual annual review format, we wanted to bring you something creative and interactive, touching on some of our key moments in our first year as the new active partnership for Northumberland and Tyne Wear. We're sure you'll agree the last 18 months have been a rollercoaster ride for everyone, following the coronavirus outbreak, which resulted in the global pandemic that has completely affected how we live and work. This video will showcase some of our most memorable projects and look back on some of the key points in our journey to where we are today, including welcoming several new members to our team. We'll look at our response to the coronavirus pandemic and how we've utilised funding to support countless local organisations to minimise the effects of the pandemic on their communities. We'll also introduce you to our work on developing our new 10-year strategy. Our team will talk you through the highlights of their work and some of the best bits of the projects and events we've captured on camera. And we'll also discuss the work we have been engaged with to further links with key strategic partners across the system. As always, we love to hear your feedback, so please don't forget to like, share and comment on this video across our social media platforms, or contact us using the details on screen now if you'd like to have a chat about how we can work together. So let's take a look back at Rise's Impact Report for 2020 to 2021.
Before July 2020, the two active partnerships of Tyne Wear Sport and Northumberland Sport had already officially come together to form a single active partnership. However, we needed an identity to cement that relationship, an identity that would represent our ambition to create a world where more people enjoy active lifestyles through helping our partners to unlock the power of physical activity to change more lives across our area. So in July 2020, we launched ourselves as Rise, the active partnership for Northumberland and Tyne Wear, with a passion and desire to make a difference to people's lives in our region.
As part of the new beginning, we have been working hard to understand the landscape across our geographical area, including which key partners we can work closely with to help us to fulfil our new strategic aims and get more people moving. We have been delighted to form a close working relationship with the Northumberland Police and Crime Commissioner and her Violence Reduction Unit to work together to look at tackling issues surrounding crime and the role that physical activity can play as a diversionary activity, and also supporting individual and community development. For example, following consultation with key strategic partners in Berwick-upon-Tweed, including the PCC, County Council and local NHS trusts, we are working together through a place-based approach to tackle issues in relation to young male suicide rates and improving the mental well-being of young Berwick residents, using the power of physical activity as one of the key drivers for improvement. We've also been working alongside the newly formed integrated care system to try to influence their priorities in relation to the critical role physical activity can play in achieving wider health outcomes. Our work with the health sector has also seen us support Northumberland NHS Foundation Trust with their Active Hospitals pilot, which aims to embed physical activity into the culture of secondary prevention.
Other examples of our strategic work include supporting the Southwick All Together Raising Aspirations project to achieve better outcomes for the residents of Southwick and Sunderland, and ensuring that physical activity is a key component of the community development plans and activities. We have been supporting planning and transport partners too, as we recognise that the places and spaces in which we live and work impact upon how much we move, and we were delighted to secure a commitment that the principles of active design will be embedded within the new Northumberland local plan. As a final example of our strategic work over the year, we were delighted to secure funding from the National Academy for Social Prescribing, Sport England and some of the local directors of public health to appoint a regional physical activity advisor to provide dedicated support to the VCSE sector and enhance the local social prescribing offer. This work will support communities experiencing significant health inequalities, particularly as a result of COVID-19, to be more physically active, through embedding physical activity in local commissioning strategies and making the most efficient use of local resources.
Of course, no one could have foreseen how the world would change in 2020 when the coronavirus pandemic took hold. Among the many effects, the pandemic exacerbated the problem of inequalities across our area and highlighted the importance of support for our communities that need it most. Throughout the pandemic, we took advantage of opportunities to attract funding that could be used to help improve health and well-being whilst tackling the effects of the pandemic on physical activity participation, isolation and loneliness.
Of course, it is also important for us to also highlight how, despite the major disruptions going on around us, we continue to fulfil our core role of developing new strategic partnerships and building on existing ones.
Across the 2020 to 21 financial year, we've attracted and utilised over £500,000 of investment to support countless projects, organisations and groups across our region. And none of this would have been possible without our continued effort to focus on building and developing partnerships within key sectors such as local government, health, criminal justice, transport, education and housing.
This funding and partnership working enabled us to support over 90 community-based activity initiatives, arrange the distribution of thousands of activity packs, work with schools to keep pupils active, provide opportunities for young people to learn and develop, run a project supporting homeless people, and establish a service to support young men in our most northerly town, Berwick-upon-Tweed. We'll now take a look at some of those key projects in more detail.
During each lockdown period, we worked with partners such as Sport England, Barclays and Benicia Homes to distribute thousands of free activity packs. These packs were sent to vulnerable and isolated children and their families, older people in care homes and in their own homes, giving those with the greatest need the means to have fun, stay active and cope during lockdown.
The Tackling Inequalities Fund was established by Sport England to reduce the impact of the coronavirus and the widening inequalities in sport and physical activity on lower socio-economic groups, ethnically diverse communities and people living with a disability or long-term health condition. We used the funding to work with a wide range of community organisations who already had an enhanced understanding of people within these groups to develop opportunities that would encourage physical activity.
Another community project that we have worked on was the RFU Families Fund. We worked alongside a rugby club, a local high school and the Rugby Football Union to bring together families from lower socio-economic areas of North Tyneside and utilise rugby as a mechanism to engage them in activities, removing many of the barriers associated with traditional sport.
During lockdown, our work with schools was even more important in order to encourage opportunities for pupils to maintain their levels of activity. We therefore led on a number of initiatives with schools across Northumberland and Tyne Wear.
School games took on a very different format in order to ensure the schools could keep their young people engaged even though the majority of pupils had been sent home during lockdown. Working with the school games organisers, content for the games was delivered virtually, meaning any number of schools and pupils could participate and continue to receive the message of the importance of daily physical activity.
Continuing the theme of working with young people, the RISE Leadership and Volunteering programme provided development opportunities for over 400 young people through our online programme. We delivered a series of workshops led by knowledgeable coaches and world-class athletes designed to provide important life skills such as communication and leadership, as well as increasing confidence and employability.
We also continued to encourage schools to sign up to the Daily Mile campaign. In Sunderland, we worked with Together for Children to pilot a Daily Mile online competition to encourage schools to deliver the Daily Mile and send us their media. By the end of March 2021, over 200 schools in our area were delivering the Daily Mile, despite lockdown and the new safety procedures that followed.
Thanks to the success of our work with schools through Phase 1 of the Opening School Facilities programme that commenced in October 2019, we were awarded additional funding from Sport England and the Department for Education to continue to help schools in opening their facilities for community use. We distributed £300,000 to support 36 schools in our area to deliver extracurricular activity for children, young people and their wider communities.
In November 2020, we received funding from the London Marathons Charities Trust to work with a range of community organisations in areas of the north that have high levels of young people who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. The project is focused on supporting these groups to introduce physical activity into their work and highlighting the link between being active and physical and emotional well-being. We gained their support to deliver physical activity to the young people and embed activity opportunities into their long-term business strategies.
In December 2020, as the second national lockdown was announced, we launched the #AnyMovement campaign to help inspire and motivate people in local communities to continue to be physically active. The campaign brought together the important message to keep active during the pandemic, along with the latest advice and guidance as to what was and wasn't allowed during the second lockdown. In order to ensure the messages were distributed as widely as possible, we worked with many of our partners to gain their support for the campaign and agreed to distribute it internally and externally.
We created a new role of Infrastructure and Environment Strategic Lead alongside County Durham Sport in order to develop and lead strategic partnerships across active travel and active design. The role is working to increase active travel and address the climate change agenda by promoting active options including walking and cycling, which can reduce carbon emissions and improve physical and mental well-being. By also promoting an increase in the use of green and blue spaces for physical activity and play, we can support more communities to be active within their local neighbourhoods. In this role, during the year, we forged strong links with departments in planning, transportation, climate change, public health and leisure, connecting these departments together across 7 North East local authority areas.
Through this role, we successfully applied to become a corporate partner of the Design Council, who advise the government on the design of environments that will improve lives. We also became a member of the National Active Partnership Active Environments and Climate Change Community of Learning, which allows for discussions on a national level regarding active environments and active travel.
Taking part in learning, monitoring, reflection and evaluation processes can help us definitively assess what difference we're making to the system which we operate within. To this aim, providing learning opportunities for our team has been an integral part of the RISE philosophy. In January 2021, we worked with behavioural theory specialist Andrew Darnton and his associates. With their guidance, we considered ways to measure and demonstrate our value in the complex system which we work in order to reflect on why we do things, to demonstrate the impact of what we do, and to illustrate our reputation and credibility to stakeholders, supporters, partners and prospective partners. This work was then incorporated into a learning evaluation framework which provides an overall framework for evaluations across different work programmes. Development of our framework began in December 2020 and it consists of a number of tools to help us evaluate and improve, including tools to monitor project objectives, to evaluate selectively and to learn continuously.
2020-21 was also a year of growth and development for the RISE team. As well as the launch of RISE, we moved to a new office in North Shields, which would enable our team to work in a more agile and flexible manner, as well as being able to host visitors. We grew our team to incorporate new members. During the year, we recruited our strategic lead for infrastructure and environment, a research and insight officer, and a communications officer. Simon Gordon was appointed to our board of trustees as the new chair of RISE to lead the board and focus it on strategic matters and setting high governance standards, as well as ensuring effective communication between the board and the senior management team.
We approached the end of the year developing a long-term strategy for RISE, one that would further our mission of working with strategic partners, new and old, to make a difference for and with our local communities. We worked closely with our board and the rest of the RISE team to put together a draft strategy which would be taken to some of our key partners for consultation before we launched.
The strategy will be our guide and roadmap for the next 10 years. It will ensure that what we're doing is driving us towards our vision, the vision of working with system partners to use the power of physical activity to create a higher quality of life for the communities that need it the most in Northumberland and Tyne Wear.
We are rising.
Are rising
Together.
Rise together. All in all, it's been an amazing inaugural year for RISE. Despite the trials and tribulations of the pandemic, we've pulled together collectively as a team and with our partners in order to try to drive the best possible outcomes for communities across our region. We know as we move into our new strategy period, there's still so much to do in order to address the inequalities that many of our communities face, to ensure we build back fairer from the pandemic, to help tackle our climate crisis, and to really ensure that there's strong and influential systems leadership for physical activity across our region. But we're excited by the challenge and we look forward to working with our partners as we move forward to deliver our collective aspirations.